3 paradoxes that will change the way you think about everything. We live in a world where we crave certainty, where we yearn for solid ground beneath our feet. But what if I told you that the very foundation of our knowledge, our beliefs, and our understanding of reality is built on quicksand? Today we're going to explore 3 mind-bending paradoxes that will challenge everything you think you know about the nature of truth, knowledge, and existence itself. Let's begin our journey with a story, the tale of Baron Munchausen. Picture a sunny day in the German countryside. The Baron is riding his horse along a winding path, with a vast mire stretching out beside him. Suddenly his horse is startled and veers off the trail, plunging into the deep, muddy swamp. The Baron finds himself stuck, his legs wedged alongside the horse's body, sinking deeper into the muck with each passing moment. Now, imagine the Baron, in a moment of desperation, reaching up and grabbing his own hair. With all his might, he pulls himself and his horse up and out of the mire, returning safely to solid ground. Of course, this is impossible. A man cannot lift himself by his own hair. But this absurd tale serves as a powerful metaphor for the paradox we're about to explore. You see, like the Baron, we too are trapped in a philosophical mire, the Munchausen trilemma. This thought experiment, named after our hapless nobleman, reveals a disturbing truth. What we think we know, what we hold to be true, may be impossible to ever truly prove. But before we dive deeper into this trilemma, let's ask ourselves 2 fundamental questions. What do we know? And how do we know it? These seemingly simple queries lead us to the heart of epistemology, the study of knowledge itself. Consider for a moment, how can you be certain of anything you believe? Take a moment to reflect on a belief you hold dear, something you consider to be unquestionably true. Now, ask yourself, how do you know this is true? What evidence or reasoning supports this belief? As you ponder this, you might find yourself caught in a loop. To know something, we need a method or criterion for determining truth. But how can we establish such a method without already knowing something to be true? It's like trying to build a house without a foundation, or trying to pull yourself out of the mire by your own hair. This conundrum brings us face to face with the problem of the criterion, a philosophical puzzle that has perplexed thinkers for centuries. We find ourselves trapped between 2 questions: what do we know? And how do we know? Each question seems to require an answer to the other before it can be addressed. So here we are, standing at the edge of the philosophical mire, much like Baron Munchausen. We're about to plunge into the depths of uncertainty, where the very nature of truth and knowledge will be called into question. Are you ready to challenge your most fundamental assumptions about reality? As we venture further, I want you to keep this question in mind. If we can't be certain of anything, how do we navigate our existence? How do we make decisions, form beliefs, or pursue knowledge in a world where absolute truth seems forever out of reach? This paradox isn't just an abstract philosophical puzzle. It has profound implications for how we live our lives, how we interact with others, and how we understand our place in the universe. It challenges us to reconsider the very foundations of science, religion, ethics, and every other domain of human thought. In the face of such uncertainty, some might be tempted to give in to nihilism or despair. But I propose that this realization can be liberating. By acknowledging the limits of our knowledge, we open ourselves to new possibilities, to growth, and to a deeper appreciation of the mystery that surrounds us. As we continue our exploration, remember the goal isn't to find definitive answers, but to embrace the questions themselves. For it is in the asking, in the seeking, that we truly come alive as thinking, feeling beings in this vast and wondrous universe. Are you prepared to have your worldview shaken to its core? Are you ready to peer beyond the veil of certainty and confront the dizzying depths of the unknown? Then let us continue our journey into the heart of paradox, where reality itself seems to twist and bend before our very eyes. The mirage of truth dancing on the edge of infinite regression. As we venture deeper into our exploration of paradoxes, we find ourselves face to face with the Munchausen trilemma. This philosophical puzzle reveals that there are only 3 ways to justify something as true, and none of them are entirely satisfactory. Let's begin with circular reasoning. Imagine trying to prove the existence of a higher power by citing a holy text, then justifying the text's authority by claiming it's divinely inspired. We've merely gone in a circle, using the conclusion to prove the premise. It's like a dog chasing its tail. We're no closer to establishing truth than when we started. Next, we encounter infinite regression. Picture trying to explain why the Earth exists, We might say it formed from a cloud of cosmic dust and gas. But then we must explain where that dust and gas came from. And then what caused that, ad infinitum. We're left with an endless chain of explanations, never reaching a final, satisfying answer. Finally, we have axiomatic statements, beliefs we accept as true without proof. But how can we be sure these foundational beliefs are actually true? We're left with the uncomfortable realization that our most cherished truths might be built on nothing more than assumptions. So we find ourselves in a predicament. If we can't definitively prove anything as true, how can we claim to know anything at all? This realization can be deeply unsettling, like the ground shifting beneath our feet. But I propose that this uncertainty, rather than being a cause for despair, can be a source of profound liberation. By acknowledging the limits of our knowledge, we open ourselves to new possibilities and perspectives. Consider for a moment, how might your life change if you held your beliefs more lightly? If you approached the world with a sense of wonder and curiosity, rather than rigid certainty? What doors might open if you were willing to question even your most fundamental assumptions? This paradox invites us to embrace humility in the face of the vast unknown. It challenges us to remain open to new ideas, to listen more deeply to those who disagree with us, and to approach life with a spirit of inquiry rather than dogma. As we grapple with these ideas, I want you to ponder this question: if absolute truth is beyond our grasp, how do we navigate the complexities of existence? How do we make decisions, form relationships, or pursue meaning in a world of uncertainty? Perhaps the answer lies not in seeking unshakable truths, but in cultivating wisdom, the ability to act with discernment and compassion in the face of ambiguity. Maybe true knowledge isn't about accumulating facts, but about developing a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos. As we move forward, let's carry with us a sense of awe at the mystery that surrounds us. Let's approach life not as know-it-alls, but as eternal students, always ready to learn, to grow, and to be surprised by the wonders of existence. In embracing uncertainty, we might find a profound sense of freedom. We're no longer burdened by the need to be right all the time. Instead, we can dance lightly on the edge of knowledge, always reaching, always exploring, always open to the infinite possibilities that lie just beyond our understanding. As we continue our journey through paradox, I invite you to loosen your grip on certainty. Allow yourself to be amazed, to be confused, to be wrong. For it is in these moments of not knowing that we often stumble upon the most profound truths about ourselves and the universe we inhabit. The mirage of progress, navigating the labyrinth of knowledge. As we delve deeper into our exploration of paradoxes, we find ourselves confronting a question that strikes at the very heart of human endeavor: can there be any philosophical progress? If absolute knowledge is beyond our grasp, how can we be sure we're improving our understanding of the world? This question is not merely academic, it has profound implications for how we approach science, ethics, and every other domain of human thought. It challenges us to reconsider what we mean by progress and knowledge in a world where certainty seems forever out of reach. Consider the work of Ludwig Wittgenstein, a philosopher who grappled intensely with this problem. Wittgenstein believed that traditional philosophy, with its quest for definitive answers to life's big questions, was ultimately futile. He likened philosophers to flies trapped in a bottle, endlessly buzzing against the glass in a vain attempt to escape. But what if the very act of buzzing, of questioning and seeking, is valuable in itself? What if the journey is more important than the destination? Perhaps philosophical progress isn't about reaching a final, conclusive truth, but about refining our questions, expanding our perspectives, and deepening our understanding of the human experience. Think about how scientific knowledge evolves. We don't arrive at absolute truths, but at better approximations of reality. Each theory is a stepping stone, not a final destination. In the same way, perhaps philosophical progress is about developing more nuanced, more useful ways of thinking about the world and our place in it. I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on your own life. How have your beliefs and understanding of the world changed over time? Have you arrived at certainty, or have you simply become more comfortable with uncertainty? Has your progress been linear, or more like a winding path through a dense forest? This paradox invites us to embrace a more humble, open-ended approach to knowledge. Instead of seeking final answers, we can cultivate a spirit of ongoing inquiry. We can learn to hold our beliefs lightly, always ready to revise them in light of new evidence or perspectives. But this raises another profound question: if we can never be certain of anything, how do we avoid falling into nihilism or paralysis? How do we make decisions and take action in a world of uncertainty? Perhaps the answer lies in recognizing that certainty is not a prerequisite for meaning or purpose. We can act with conviction while still maintaining intellectual humility. We can pursue knowledge not as a quest for absolute truth, but as a means of enriching our experience of life and deepening our connections with others. Consider the words of physicist Richard Feynman. "I can live with doubt and uncertainty and not knowing. I think it is much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers that might be wrong." This attitude allows us to remain open to new possibilities, to continue growing and learning throughout our lives. As we navigate this labyrinth of knowledge, we might find that the real value of philosophy lies not in providing answers, but in teaching us how to ask better questions. It's about developing a more refined capacity for critical thinking, empathy, and self-reflection. I challenge you to embrace the paradox of progress. Pursue knowledge with passion, but hold your conclusions lightly. Seek understanding, but be willing to admit when you don't know. And above all, remember that the greatest wisdom often lies in recognizing the vastness of our own ignorance. As we continue our journey through paradox, let's carry with us a sense of wonder at the mystery of existence. For it is in grappling with these profound questions that we truly come alive as thinking, feeling beings in this vast and wondrous universe. The symphony of paradox, embracing the dance of uncertainty. As we reach the culmination of our journey through paradox, we find ourselves not at a final destination, but at a new beginning. We've peered into the depths of uncertainty, questioned the foundations of knowledge, and challenged our most cherished beliefs. But where does this leave us? I invite you to consider that perhaps the true wisdom lies not in resolving these paradoxes, but in learning to dance with them. Like a tightrope walker balancing between certainty and doubt, we can learn to move through life with grace and purpose, even in the face of fundamental uncertainty. Think of the Zen koan. What is the sound of one hand clapping? The purpose of this riddle is not to arrive at a logical answer, but to short-circuit our habitual patterns of thinking and open us to a different kind of understanding. In the same way, these philosophical paradoxes can serve as gateways to a more profound engagement with reality. Consider how our exploration of the Munchausen trilemma has revealed the circular nature of all justification. Rather than seeing this as a dead end, we can view it as an invitation to embrace a more holistic, interconnected view of knowledge. Perhaps truth is not a fixed point, but a web of interrelated ideas, each supporting and being supported by the others. I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on your own experience of paradox in your life. Have you ever found that accepting contradiction has led to a deeper understanding? Have you ever discovered that embracing uncertainty has opened up new possibilities? This acceptance of paradox is not mere philosophical playfulness, it has practical implications for how we live our lives. By holding our beliefs more lightly, we become more open to new ideas, more capable of empathy, and more resilient in the face of change. We can act with conviction while remaining humble, pursue knowledge while acknowledging our limitations. But this raises a profound question: if we can't rely on absolute truths, how do we make ethical decisions? How do we determine right from wrong in a world of shifting perspectives? Perhaps the answer lies not in seeking universal moral laws, but in cultivating wisdom and compassion. We can strive to act in ways that reduce suffering and promote flourishing, while remaining open to new information and perspectives. We can build ethical frameworks that are flexible and responsive, rather than rigid and absolute. As we navigate this paradoxical existence, we might find that the greatest truths are not statements of fact, but lived experiences. The feeling of awe at a starry sky, the deep connection with a loved one, the sense of purpose in pursuing a worthy goal, these are truths that need no justification, that speak directly to our human experience. I challenge you to embrace the paradoxes in your life. When faced with contradiction, don't rush to resolve it, sit with it, explore it, see what it has to teach you. When you encounter people with different beliefs, approach them with curiosity rather than judgment. You might find that the greatest insights come not from proving others wrong, but from understanding how they might be right. Remember, the goal is not to arrive at final answers, but to keep asking better questions. To remain open, curious, and engaged with the mystery of existence. To dance with paradox, finding balance and grace in the midst of uncertainty. As we conclude our exploration, I invite you to carry these paradoxes with you. Let them be a source of wonder, a reminder of the vast mystery that surrounds us. For in embracing paradox, we embrace the full complexity and beauty of human existence. In the end, perhaps the greatest wisdom lies in recognizing that we are all, like Baron Munchausen, trying to pull ourselves out of the swamp by our own hair. But in acknowledging this impossibility, we free ourselves to enjoy the absurd, beautiful dance of life. So let us dance together, in the grand symphony of paradox, celebrating the endless mystery of being human.